All right. So I'm going to share my screen so that you can see the agenda for what we're going to speak about tonight, and then we'll go from there. Okay. All right. So can everybody still hear me? Thumbs up. If you go down to the bottom of your screen and you see the word reaction, you can hit a thumbs up, and that lets me know you can hear me. Okay. Very good. I see you. Good job. Okay. So tonight's meeting is just going to go over some general things about summer camp. And the summer camp is really only open to the dreamers, people that we actually know. And we know your children already. You've been serviced by our staff already, and you kind of know who we are. Part of that is because of, well, a good part of it is because we're opening back up the country. And we're the first line defenders of getting your students back to reality, you know, in the real world of getting going again in their academics. For some of them, waking them up because we've been sleeping for 3 months. So we want to make sure they get back and are as prepared to go back to school as possible. So we are the like godmother of school, the Dream Center, where it is that they may be falling short. We want to make sure that they're caught up through us. And as well, if they're doing well, we want to make sure we encourage them to be even more great. So the general synopsis of the camp does not change. The only major changes we're going to go through in item number 3. The camp is still the same. We have pretty much the same staff. They don't have to be introduced to anybody except for one young lady. She is new to us. Her name is Miss Whitehurst, but she's going to be a fantastic teacher. She's going to work with the pre-K and the K. And believe you me, it was a big deal to decide whether or not we would even do the camp because of all of the CDC guidelines and regulations that we had to adhere to. And just so that you know, our team is trained and we're going to abide by everything that the CDC has said. So we want to make sure that everybody is safe. That's number one. But that way we also have fun and that the kids have a sense of normalcy and that you guys can work. Okay. So next we're going to go over a few things in terms of COVID-19 and why we are changing certain things. So in terms of COVID-19, the most important thing that we want to remember is that the touchless society is what we're going to encounter at summer camp for New Mount Moriah. Now, New Mount Moriah is the church. For those of you who have not had your babies be raised through the Dream Center, we start them off at the church for aftercare, and then we take them to the school. Well, now everyone is going to be at the school. At the church and not the school. The schools have not made a clear decision as to whether or not they will allow summer camp. But in my mind, if everybody needs to go back to work, people need care. So we decided to open back up at the church. The principal knows we're opening back up. We already have the information already, what you need, to do over the summer to try to catch up for when we are reintegrated into the school. So the COVID-19 issue or the coronavirus is really what is driving what we're doing. So if you're entering the meeting, please mute yourselves, okay, if you're just entering the meeting. So that's number one. So one of the biggest changes is going to be food. You will be required to bring your own food. You know, Pastor Tanya loves to feed the kids. However, food companies have changed the way they administer food. I do not want anybody touching their food. If through the course of time that changes, then that's going to be what we do. We'll add back the food company, but for right now, we're not doing the food company because that's another person touching the food. So in terms of our touchless society, we have to make sure we have to minimize all the touching going on. That's going to also change in school. So at least the Dream Center kids will be ready to be reintroduced to the way school is going to be forward by participating in summer camp. Also, they will eat wherever their classroom is. We have divided the church up in stations. Those stations is going to be where they do everything with the exception of outdoor play. They're going to be with one person the entire time. So when they eat their food, they're going to be in their classroom. They're not going to go to the fellowship hall and the dining area like we used to in their turns. We're going to eat wherever we are. So to that, I'm going to go next to personalization. Personalization means if this is the most expensive camp we have ever had because everybody has to have their own stuff, okay? Their personalization includes all of their own paper, all of their own pencils. They will not have a big crayon bucket in the middle of the table to share crayons. We have had to order individual desks, individual chairs, all wipeable so that they are completely personalized. They will have their own cubby. They're like in times past, if they come in time, they're gonna have their own backpacks. The first thing we had to do in getting prepared is make sure we had all the lesson plans and knew all the materials needed in every lesson plan, and everything is that they need will be in their personal cubby. They will have everything, every highlighter, every ruler, every piece of supplies will be in their personal cubby, which they will have. Which next brings us to sanitation. Now this has been a variation between people of who can wear the mask, who can't wear the mask, what is up with the mask, the gloves, the sanitizer, the washing of the hands, all of that. We actually have lessons about hand washing, and they have to pass these tests in order to make sure they can maintain themselves in the camp. One of the things they have to get used to, if they haven't already, please be sure that they're wearing their mask, they understand what's going on, so that when we're introduced to each other and reintroduced to each other in camp, that they're not confused about why they need to wear their mask. Of course, we're going to go over it again, but that is going to be a part of editing the behavior policy. We're going to give everybody some time and some room. I can't stand wearing a mask either, but we have to. That is a part of what the new normal will be. Wearing the mask. We're going to take mask breaks. We introduce those into the schedule, and you'll see the schedule when we're complete with it. But this has been a complete overhaul for us. It's going to be for them, but we're looking forward to getting them used to how things will be. This sanitation package does cost. I'm going to add the, well, if you have my number already, you already can Cash App it, but it is $30 for the summer. That will include their own personal stuff that they have at school. We can't, well, at church, we can't run the risk of you not having it, they forgot it, I don't have this and I don't have that. We have a package, it has to be purchased, so you get to pay $30 for the entire summer. With the exception of if we can get the show done, you won't have to pay, it is still free. It is hard to be free though these days. It is a little different. I can't say whether we can guarantee anything free completely going forward because this is, like I said, very expensive. We usually have a wonderful time shopping for all of the stuff, but this is, some of the stuff is not even available. So we are really having a challenge getting everything ready for them, but we are ready for week 1. Weeks 2 through 7 will come, but it is a challenge getting everything ready. But this sanitation package is $30, and we're going to let you. Please mute yourself.
It's not called suicide.
The sanitation package is $30. It is required for a child. They have to have the operation. They will be in care from 9 to 3, but there's going to be a staggered time to everybody cannot be picked up and dropped off at the same time. as we work through the schedule and as you register, that you can understand when you're to drop the student off or babies off and when you're to pick them up. Now, teaching team is the same, but we have 2 people per small class. We have 2 people per small class, and that is to allow for everybody to get a break. And let me just break this down for you from the teaching and the team perspective. According to the CDC, the child has to remain with their teacher or with their counselor, that same group, from the time they get there to the time they leave. So unlike before, when they could go to Miss Green, go to Mr. Dennis, go to Mr. Malik for music, go to Miss Princess for twirling, it doesn't go that way. So we have to teach, everybody has to teach everything. So if they're assigned to this particular age group with Mr. Dennis, they have to stay with Mr. Dennis all day. Mr. Dennis has to do academics. Mr. Dennis has to do his physical fitness. Mr. Dennis has to do arts and crafts. Mr. Dennis has to do everything with them from the beginning to the end. Now we have professional help. Mr. Dennis, as an example, is going to share his physical fitness lesson plans with all the rest of the instructors and counselors, and each of them will have an assistant. But this makes for a very challenging day because the kids used to get a particular break a certain way, and so did the instructors, and we all need it. So we will continue to keep you posted about how this works, but that's kind of like, those are the big changes. And if you have questions, of course, in the end, you'll be able to ask questions. Make sure you put your questions in the chat box. If I'm saying something and it's ringing a bell or it's jarring something that you want to talk about, we'll unmute everybody and we can, and I'll read the question and I can ask the questions, and then you can raise your hand to be acknowledged. Next, we're going to go through, and remember, we have parent sessions in the summer. You have to see me at least 6 times. So the first time is going to be tonight. We're going to get that out of the way. Let me just take a pause and talk about this pandemic just a second. In this thing that has happened to us, that the Lord has allowed, we have to be grateful that we're even alive. And I'm gonna stop sharing the screen so that you could see my face, because I got to preach a little bit, okay? We have to be thankful that we've made it, through this portion. So many of us have gone to glory. There's been over 100,000 people that have died. So this is a very serious thing. So it's not only very serious to us from a health perspective, but it's very serious to us. Some of us don't work anymore. Some of us have lost money, and it's very hard to work. And I'm for the working people. It's very hard to work if you don't have care. But we have to be very careful about this care, which is why I'm very serious about opening up, but we're going to open up in a serious way. I don't like the friends of mine that have had to lose money and not be able to make their bills and worry. We don't want that, okay? So financially, it has been a big disruption to some of us. For those of us that haven't had the financial disruption, I want to tell God thank you. But it is difficult in the situation that we're in. So one of the things that's going to shift in our parent meetings is that we're going to be speaking about things that really matter, that you think matter, that I also think matter. Financially, I believe everybody needs to be strong. That's what we're teaching the children. Get your education, grow up, be able to take care of yourselves. That's a part of what our out of school time and after care activities will do. But we want to make sure the parents are okay too. So this first session is going to be tonight, so we can knock this out of the way. And those of you who are logged in will get credit for tonight. We're going to listen to a very good, long-standing personal friend of mine who is a financial expert. And we're going to talk a little bit. She's going to talk for a few minutes. This qualifies for one of your sessions about being financially secure. It's not going to be a long session, and she is going to leave her number in the chat for you to contact her in the future. But with that being said, I'm going to end our parent orientation for what we need to know for summer camp. And the parent session number 1 will begin with Miss Inga Joseph. I'm going to turn it over to Inga now. And Inga, I'm going to, I'll guide for you. You can share your screen. If it doesn't, I'll make you the host. But you can begin, and everybody's going to listen to Miss Inga, and then we'll go in for while she's speaking, I'm going to take a look at the chat room to see if there's any questions that I need to answer, and then we're going to give her our attention, okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank Pastor Jackson for allowing me to come on and speak with everyone this evening. This is like a true honor. I've known Pastor Jackson for like over 25 years now. It's been a long time. So this is an honor to come on and, you know, just speak with you all and educate. I love educating my people about financial literacy. That's like a big part for me right now. And it needs to become big in our lives now because, like, as Tanya said, we've had not just the pandemic, but if you think about things like last year when the government shut down and people were furloughed during then. So we need to think about making sure we're safe and have those means prepared for times like that, you know? So what I do is I teach people how money works. And through that, I provide basic concepts such as, you know, like financial education with savings and investments. And something really important, just making sure you're properly protected. And so that you will be able to, you know, try to help you towards financial freedom one day, you know, plan for retirement, anything concerning our financial house, that's what we assist, you know, with. And I would love to sit with each one of you to give you my undivided attention and just see where you are to make sure you're on track, because that is very important. One of the other things we have is I offer the opportunity for people to join our team. And so if we interview you, and if you're interested in making some more money and learning how money works, learning basic concepts, we welcome you to join the team. So what I want you to do mainly is if anybody who's, especially now, people have been impacted by their jobs, so have lost jobs. So we are here to help with that. So what I want you to do is leave your, I'm going to leave my name and number in the chat, but also I want you to put your name in the chat and just say financial plan. And I'll know that you want the free financial plan and just the assistance for us to sit with you. And I'll get your number from Pastor Jackson, will pass it on to me, and I'll definitely contact you and we can get something going. So again, thank you all for, I see a thumbs up. Please put your name in the chat. I would definitely give you a call. So thank you all for allowing me to speak this evening. And I look forward really to talking to each one of you, because I really have some good stuff for us, you know, and I want to share it. Thanks, Pastor Jackson.
You're very welcome. Okay. So I was getting ready to start typing in the chat. I thought Ms. Joseph was going to be longer. But anyways, I want you to listen to her. She's, you know, I don't know if you, it matters, but her granddaddy used to pastor the church where you're going to be at the camp, Reverend Strange. So she's very familiar with the area and is a daughter of the community as well. Went to Northwestern, was a majorette with me. She can help your baby twirl and everything. But to some of the questions, I was getting ready to start typing. One of the questions is, what's in the sanitation package? So the babies will have their own masks, enough for the whole summer. They will have 2 types of masks. We've ordered one because we don't know what kind is going to fit them better. And one mask is not for everybody. Everybody don't like the same type of mask. They all don't fit the same, and they all don't feel the same. So they're going to have 2 types of masks. One will be the blue one that you see people wear all the time. I think that provides more air, but they're also, I don't know if I like them the best. I have a couple other types. One is another type that is smaller. It fits more snug on the face, and it has an air filter. So it will be whatever they say they like, okay? So we'll do the best we can to accommodate them. If between those two that they're not comfortable and they're complaining, then you're going to have to figure out which mask you think is best for them that they think they like. But we have two kinds. They're both a children's size, and the one that has the air filter. Also, we have included in the sanitation package filters, changing filters for them. Now, one of the things about the one with the air filter, it is washable. If we send that home and you don't send it back, then they're going to have to deal with whatever's left in their cubby. Okay, so that's that. They have wipes. They'll be taught how to wipe off their stuff. If they are going to play the drums or they're going to use drumsticks, they need to practice wiping off everything they use. So they're going to have their individual wipes to touch everything and wipe and sanitize everything it is that they use. They're going to have inside there, they're going to have their camp t-shirt for field trips on Friday. That is one thing I should have added to the agenda that is going to change a lot. So we're going to have whatever they individually need in that sanitation package. We're not going to do as much swimming. I'm still praying about that because I don't know how I've read and done everything that I've read, and I just don't trust the water. I just can't see it right now. And I know they love that. They were going swimming twice a week, but I don't know. We're going to have to play water balloon in the parking lot because it's not, I know, you would be amazed how much fun they like that. But we're going to play water games in the parking lot, and that's that. Because I just am not comfortable with the communicable disease that nobody understands getting in the water with that. So that's what I'm leaning toward, not going swimming. But whatever it is that they need, they'll have wipes to wipe it down. So and I think I mentioned they'll have their own sanitizer. You have to preach to them, and we will too. They're only to use, you only need a dab. They'll have that. They'll have wipes, like alcohol wipes, to wipe off their stuff, and wipe off their things, and they'll be very clean and good. And if you haven't trained them already, we're gonna help you with that. So that's what's in the sanitation package. Let me see this other question. The question of warming up food. Here's what I'm suggesting. We're not going to be warming up their food. Number one, warming the food causes you to touch stuff. If you just think about everything that you doing, you have to remove the sense of touch from it. So, and our microwave in the church is really high. They won't be able to reach it, and we're not going to do that. So if it is something that you need for them to have warm, send them there with a warm breakfast that they have already eaten. And then in the middle of the day, when they need the snack, make sure they have their snack. Let me go over what we used to do so that you can be sure they're full. Because we can't have them, one of the ways we get them, like acting as if we want them to act and behaving correctly is because they eat well at camp. So we would feed them breakfast, they would have a snack. We would feed them lunch, and they would have another snack. So, and they had drinks with all their meals. So that's what you need to do, and you need to be sure you measure it so that they're not complaining to us that they're hungry. And for God's sake, if you work, please be sure you don't forget their meal, because then we'll have to be calling you. The reason why, again, is because we do not want to touch their food. We don't want to touch it. They have to know how to open up their, lunch box, get them an insulated lunch box, put their stuff in there, and that is going to go in their cubby, okay? Right along with their stuff. They know how to go in there, get their snack, and eat it, washing their hands and so forth. So that's how lunch will go. And the answer to the question, no, they will not be able to warm it up. So the warm meal, if you want them to have it, you just make sure you give that to them for breakfast. Give them a hot meal, because everything else will be something they need inside their have inside their cubby. All right, let me make sure I'm answering all the questions. Question, I have to pay $30 times 3 kids. Yes, you do. Okay, so you have to have a sanitation package for each kid. Look at it like this: $90 for the whole summer. There's no better deal than that. Okay, even if you had 6 kids, $180 for 7 weeks of full summer camp. Amen. I know you saying amen. Okay. All right. What day does camp start and what's the deadline to pay the $30? So right now, that's a good question. Camp starts on Monday. Okay. When I'm done with this, everybody, did anybody just give me a thumbs up on your reaction screen if you received my email also for this updated Zoom meeting? Did everybody receive my email? And my text and the text that the staff sent out? Just hit your thumbs up button. Okay, so you'll get an email about once you cash app, and let me just put in my everybody has my number, yes? So you can just use my cell phone number. It'll bring me up, but it's my initials are TRJ. And if you want to, I can put this in the chat as well, and I'll leave the chat open for a few minutes so you can scroll through the chat and see it. But it's $ if you have a pen, ACCTRJ. And it's non-negotiable. Don't make me crying, nothing of that, because we cannot put the staff through. Oh, I forgot my mask. Oh, I left my bottle home. I wipe my stuff off. No, and it's very important that we try to, mitigate this coronavirus. And I want to just give a shout out and thanks to one of our dreamer parents who has had COVID-19 and made it. Give God praise. Okay. So even if something happens and somebody catches it, I want to bring up one last point, and this may help some of us. Remember this: if you have a student in pre-K, remember that we treat pre-K very differently. So pre-K parents, if you don't have your school readiness certificate or have one at all, we need to have a conversation. And although you have your registration online and you filled out your application, we have to have a conversation. Some of the Early Learning Coalition people have contacted me to say, oh, this parent needs to update, you need to make sure you do that. And if you are a first responder and you know first responders, make sure you get them in touch with me. And if you're a first responder on here, you know who you are, or a health professional. To me, I feel like the first responder are the people from Walmart. They never stop working and or what have you. So we can try to make the case. But there is a special package of care that they're doing for first responders. Everybody wants us, and I agree with this, as providers, to treat the first responders very carefully and very special. So if you are a nurse, if you are a police officer, if you are a corrections officer, if you are a probation officer, if you are a firefighter, if you work in the fire department or you work in the police department, make sure that you let me know that, because they're providing extra resources for us to take care of you better, and I really enjoy that. And if my staff extends themselves, we will take care to the specifications of your early going in or you're needing a late pickup. Those things will be afforded to you. Otherwise, everybody else that has needs of late pickup and early, you have to put aftercare and before care, and you can individually conversate with me about that. But for first responders, we have to, however, and it used to be that it mattered how much you made. We have waived the income requirement, and you are eligible as long as you go through the process of being first responders. We are not so sure right now if you have a retained need, how we're going to work that out. As you heard in the orientation, it is a difficult and challenging schedule. And if not too many retained needs and we can get 1 or 2, maybe so. But here's the deal. what happens with the retainee, depending on what class they're in, they're gonna have to be distant with their retention teacher and get that instruction from that retention teacher. So if you have a retention letter, you also need to let me know. Okay, let me go and look in the chat for anything. I can't hear due to feedback. Okay, just join the meeting. Please mute your phone. Or that they weren't able to hear. Okay, so for the are my boys accepted? I will talk to you privately. Okay, so if anything else, are there any questions? Just you can just raise your hand, and if you can and you need to ask it openly, that's fine. But yes, you unmute yourself, Toya.
What are the camp hours?
The camp is going from 9 to 3, and we're going to do a staggered admittance and a staggered dismissal. So it'll begin a little bit before, but not for everybody. So that class can start at 9, and then we'll begin dismissing at 3 in a staggering fashion. Everybody understand that? And you'll know when you're fully registered. If you understand what I mean by fully registered, you've registered online, you've gotten your $30 submitted, and you're fully registered, and you'll get your registration package as you go along. There are other things you have to physically sign. So you'll make sure you physically sign those papers. One last thing that I want to make a point of. This is not like before. Make sure you it's not muted. Let me see. Okay. You will not get to come to inside the church. You will not. Okay. You will have a staggered portion where you drop your babies off, you sign them in, and you go on home. That is partly why we want to only deal with families that we know, because they already know us. We can't take criers. They just don't have to just be man up and go inside the church and trust us, okay? So anybody that is not familiar with us, you have to get them, get them prepped for Monday, okay? So we're trusting those outsiders only because we know your family. So we're gonna work through all that we have to do to get them accepted, or if they need resources from the Early Learning Coalition or what have you, you're a first responder that we can help work and make that happen. But we'll go investigating that from now till the end of the weekend and get everybody in. We only have 30 spots. So once everyone has paid and registered and they're fully registered and the 30 spots are gone, there's nothing we can do. So make sure if you have a family of 5 that you did everything. Remember, if you're needing to register other students, you have to clear your cookies out to make the application refresh and register the second child. So register online, pay your $30 for your sanitation package, and you're considered fully registered. You can Cash App $ACCTRJ or my cell phone number, 786-357-4939. Okay? All right. And anybody else with any questions, we're gonna text those questions to me. And if anybody else, I'm gonna stay on for a little bit so that if anybody needs to speak to Ms. Joseph or wants to give just Ms. Joseph their information, that they can go ahead. She does a fantastic job for those of us that need it. Okay. And she and if you want to pick up a few extra coins, remember she can pick you up and hire you. Okay. All right. So any other questions? Anybody else? Otherwise, I will see you Monday. If you want to stop by the church before Monday, we're there every day from like 8 to 4, but we don't have a lot of time because we're getting it in. Okay, we're getting ready. But you can stop by the church if you want to from 8 to 4 through Friday. Okay. It's so nice to see everybody. All right. And again, thank you, Ms. Joseph. That was your parent session number 1. So if you've logged in as your name and your child, you have your parent session number 1. Want to say hi to Ms. Toya and Mr. Malik. They're on the line. Your camp counselors, you can wave. All right. Good to see everybody. Okay. If there aren't any more questions, or if there are, just text me and I'll get to you and get you some answers. Okay. Good to see everyone. With that, I'm going to end the meeting, and thank you so much for participating. Okay. All right. Good night. I'm going to stay on just a little bit myself and answer any questions. I'm typing the Cash App in the chat. Okay, the Cash App is in the chat for everybody that wanted it. Okay. Oh, let me do it again. I think I sent it privately. Shay, 296-357. Okay, is anybody else having anything else? Look at the baby. Hey, boo-boo. All right. So good night, everybody. If wave hard if you need me. Okay. All right. Otherwise, text me or call me. See y'all later.